and welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Bora and I will be presenting What if AI taught us everything we know? Imagine a world where every act of learning passes through an artificial intelligence. You prepare for an exam using an AI tutor. Your teacher uses AI to design lesson plans, and universities evaluate their applicants using AI screening systems. We're not speculating about a distant future here, but rather describing a transition already underway in our world today. For most of history, advanced knowledge was scarce as it was difficult to acquire. It required years upon years of formal education, access to institutions, and sustained effort. This knowledge and skill set that makes an individual economically productive is referred to as human capital. That scarcity I mentioned justified high wages for professionals whose expertise was difficult to replicate. The rule was simple: the more you knew, the more you would be rewarded for it. This follows the core economic principle of scarcity pricing, where something that's harder to obtain commands higher value in a market. Knowledge was expensive because it took time to acquire, and wages reflected this cost, often creating a wage premium, meaning higher earnings for those with more knowledge. However, AI has fundamentally altered the question and the cost of knowledge. When an AI system develops so far that it can generate the same quality of output as a human with the highest level of education, the time required to access expertise decreases. This decreases the marginal cost of advanced labor, and when the cost of something decreases, so does its scarcity. For the first time in history, advanced knowledge is becoming abundant. When we apply this to a global labor market, value always follows scarcity. And if information is abundant and anyone can efficiently produce labor output with just a few prompts in ChatGPT, then information alone cannot warrant rewards in the form of strong wages for professionals. As AI systems increasingly perform tasks based on recalling information, structured reasoning, and pattern recognition, these tasks lose their exclusivity, and thus education in the traditional sense of accumulating knowledge becomes a less competitive barrier to entry for many jobs. This is why the real disruption of AI is not only automation, but rather the redefinition of what counts as economically valuable human contribution. So you may be wondering, what becomes scarce instead of information? When knowledge becomes abundant, the advantage isn't just having the answers anymore. It's deciding which of the answers matter the most. The scarcest of the human soft skills is judgment, the ability to interpret information in context and make effective decisions that can carry certain implications. Now, AI may generate options, but it cannot bear responsibility for any outcomes. This is where the economic implications become personal, especially for high school students such as myself, as we are growing up in this massive economic shift. Many students here today are already integrating AI into their academic lives. And this is completely rational behavior, as I believe the question isn't whether you should use AI at all, but rather how you can use it in a way that actually optimizes your position in the long term. So, if you use AI primarily to substitute for your own thinking, you may see short-term academic benefits. The assignments may come easier, but this has a hidden cost that most students overlook. If AI consistently performs the cognitively demanding parts of your learning for you, then you're not developing the deeper, uniquely human soft skills that remain scarce. In economic terms, you'd be outsourcing the very capability that will determine your future bargaining power when applying for a job, for example. On the other hand, if you use AI as a tool to test your reasoning and to explore perspectives, then you're complementing your own intelligence rather than replacing it. In a labor market saturated with AI outputs, critical thinking will be most in demand. This is economically significant, as organizations reward those who can use the skill to make high-stakes decisions responsibly. And this brings us to the core of this economic shift. When knowledge becomes abundant, the ability to govern and use it becomes scarce. Your competitive advantage will not come from memorizing more information than your peers, but rather demonstrating that you can exercise your own human skills and independent judgment in an environment where everyone has access to seemingly perfect AI tools. Employers and perhaps even universities distinguish between those who can generate answers relying on AI and those who can critically evaluate them. So, how do you position yourself optimally in this transition? I urge you to change the way you view and interact with AI. When you receive an explanation answering your prompt, do not stop at simply understanding it. Inquire as to what assumptions underlie it. Consider what data might be missing, and examine how the conclusions will change under different circumstances. By doing this consistently, you train the very cognitive skills that machines cannot comprehend, being our own human judgment. Let me leave the students in the audience here with a measurable challenge. For the next 30 days, every time you use AI for schoolwork, I challenge you to disagree with it at least once for every task you use it to complete. Every time you receive an answer, identify a flaw, a limitation, or an oversight in its reasoning. Then, revise your prompt to challenge that weakness and force a more rigorous response. Do not move forward until you have done this. This simple habit transforms AI from just a mere shortcut into a way to enhance and complement your own intelligence. Over time, you'll notice something important. Your reasoning will become more structured, and your confidence in evaluating information will increase. That right there are your judgment skills, developing in real time. If you commit to this discipline for the next month, it will stop feeling like a challenge and start feeling more automatic. You will not have to remind yourself to question the output. You'll simply do it. And that instinct is a skill that will stay with you long after this month ends. In conclusion, the students who thrive in an AI-saturated economy will not be those who use it blindly, nor those who don't use it at all. They will be those who learn to use it most optimally in the ways that I've described to you today. So coming back to the original question, if AI teaches us much of what we know, then our advantage will not lie in access to knowledge, but how we choose to use it. Thank you for your attention.